What's up, folks? It is Sunday, and I don't have absolutely anything to talk about, or at least nothing planned. I am just going to completely go off on a whim today and talk about some very random shit, whatever comes to my mind. Got my Starbucks. It's a little lukewarm now because I was there for quite a while ago. Also, New Year's resolution is to stop saying like so much. Like as a placeholder, like. So, that's one of my only resolutions, really. So, if you hear me say like other than right now and using it as a placeholder, let me know and I'll do some push-ups or something for it. Let's see, we got anything? The easiest way to just find some things to talk about, just get on the Twitter sphere and see what the hell is going on there. A lot of war talk these days. Are we going to go to war with Iran? Or is there going to be a world war? I have absolutely no idea. And I honestly don't know all of what's going on. But to my initial reaction to the entire thing was, it seemed, I know the guy we assassinated sounds like he did a lot of terrible things, and when the news first broke, everyone was saying he had American blood on his hands, which basically means that he was responsible for many American deaths. But my initial reaction was that bombing and blowing the guy up might not have been the wisest option, because now we have more troops going over there and the whole American blood on his hands. Yeah, we blew him up, but now how many more innocent lives are going to be lost because of our initial reaction to blow the dude into pieces? But honestly, that's just my initial reaction, and yeah, I don't really know what the right answer is. But I do know that I hope this issue can get resolved in a relatively, not quiet manner, but a relatively easy manner, and with as few amount of deaths as possible for everyone involved. Which kind of brings me to a point, for the people that have a lot of hardcore pride in America, and it's like, America, fuck yeah, great movie, by the way. I honestly don't get it. I really just don't get the whole pride in America uber attitude, because you are just simply it is completely up to luck and chance as to where you're born. America is fucking phenomenal, and I probably wouldn't want to live anywhere else, but it was completely up to luck that I was born in America. I was lucky enough to be born into a good family, and lucky enough to be born into America, but I don't understand having pride in that. I literally did not have anything to do with that. I was just, boom, popped into the world one day, and here we are in Indiana. And you just have to think about all the unlucky people out there that are born into just terrible circumstances and born into just places where it is very unoptimal to live. But I just don't understand having a hardcore pride in America, and it's like an attitude. Oh, I use like, goddammit, and it's an attitude of we are the Mecca, like, goddamn, I use it again, Mecca God compared to all these other countries. I just don't get it, because to me, what we really should try to optimize for is bringing everybody's situation up to where people are living prosperously. That's the word I'm looking for. But to want to just keep people out of America, and it's really just to continue to dominate, wanting to continue to dominate over all these other countries because you have such a hardcore pride in America. I just don't get, because you are simply lucky or unlucky enough to be born where you're at, and you had literally nothing to do with where you were born, so why take pride in that? It's the equivalent of what's a good, like, ooh, I was lucky enough to be born super athletic, or I was lucky enough to be born in California compared to Nebraska. Do people have that much pride in their state? I don't know. I mean, it's a little bit easier to move state to state than country to country, but I just do not get the whole pride in America thing. Obviously, I love to live here, and I want to continue to have a great place to live, and in order to do that, we have to think about how to live optimally with the other countries around us. But I just don't get the hardcore pride from where you simply did not choose to be born where you were born. So that's that. Anything else interesting on the Twitter sphere? Also, I'm just trying to upload these videos, stay consistent, so that's why I'm going to be uploading a lot more consistent, just make a habit of it. Explore. Oh yeah, Patriots got beat last week, and the Titans kind of whomped on the Ravens last night. We went to a Punch Bowl social for somebody's birthday, and they only had the Ravens Titans game on a few TVs, and everywhere else they had the fucking Food Network. And they won it and said they couldn't change it from the Food Network to the game because the Food Network pays them to keep the Food Network on. I've never heard of anything like that in my life, but I mean, shit, if a company is just giving you money to keep playing their show, I mean, shit, why not? But you also have to think about how many customers you might be potentially losing if they have to go into your goddamn restaurant and watch the Food Network all the time. Because do people really like watching the Food Network? I don't know. I don't really watch cable television anymore. It's Netflix. Good morning, folks. It is Monday. When I was recording yesterday during my quote-unquote Sunday special, my camera died. I had one bar when I started. I thought I could make it through. Turns out I made it through like 8 minutes. But anyways, here we are. We are just going to turn what was the Sunday special into I guess we'll just say Monday special. I think yesterday, when the camera cut off, I was talking about, I don't remember exactly what I was talking about, but I remember talking about TV and how I don't have cable and just watch everything through Netflix. And basically I use my sister's DirecTV subscription. Maybe I shouldn't say that on camera. And then I can watch all the necessary things that I want to watch through that. By the way, watching a really good show right now called Succession on HBO. It's basically about this super toxic family that the father owns a media empire and the kids are all pretty goddamn crazy, and they hate their father one minute, love their father the next minute, and they're always constantly trying to screw each other over, and it's just basically a super toxic family, but they're all also basically billionaires, I think, but they essentially have so much goddamn money. Also, a reminder, New Year's resolution, stop saying like, so I will try to not say like during this recording. We got the national championship game tonight, Clemson versus LSU. Before the playoffs started, I said Clemson was going to win it all. I thought they would, honestly thought they'd kind of smoke Ohio State, and they looked pretty shitty the first half, to be honest with you. I thought, the first quarter, I thought Ohio State was just going to demolish Clemson. Turns out that Ohio State just couldn't take advantage of some opportunities, and Clemson did. And people are going to complain about Clemson getting some huge calls. They kind of did, but they also capitalized on those, and Ohio State didn't capitalize on those opportunities. But I said Clemson was going to win at the start of the playoffs. I thought they were going to win it all. I thought they'd blow past Ohio State. And then I think everyone knew LSU was going to stop Oklahoma, which did happen. And then I thought Clemson would beat LSU. But now, seeing that LSU just completely demolished Oklahoma, and Clemson didn't beat Ohio State like I thought they would beat them. They kind of showed some of their flaws. I think LSU is going to win. I don't think they're going to win huge. I think LSU is going to win by 17 points. And yeah, so that's my call. LSU by 17. I think LSU will put up, I kind of want to say they'll put up 40, like 42, and Clemson will put up like 25, that would be 17 points. Yeah, and I think the score will be somewhere around there. But anyways, moving on. Is there anything good on the Twitter sphere? Seahawks got beat last night. Marshawn Lynch giving a very interesting post-game interview. What did he say? He said, "Protect y'all chickens" or something. Not sure what that meant. Yeah, so we got the national championship game tonight. Also, what about Ricky Gervais just demolishing, I think it was the Golden Globes? That was the best hosting performance maybe ever. He just destroyed Hollywood and the echo chamber of which, not even an echo chamber, it's kind of one of the most crazy things is you have all these super privileged Hollywood celebrities that make tons of money, and they're criticizing people that are way less privileged on their, essentially, what they think are conservative values, even though somewhat liberal values today are just mainstream, or past mainstream liberal values are considered right these days. But anyways, I think Hollywood has completely gone mad. But it was nice to see Ricky Gervais just kind of light a fire during the Golden Globes. And I also think you got to see that not all of Hollywood is crazy. But anyways, I thought I would finish this up a little bit with kind of what's going on, what's new in my life, what books I'm reading and whatnot. The new year, today's January 13th, the new year has started off good. Can't complain. Got back from Fort Myers right before, the weekend before New Year's Eve. Had a fantastic time in Fort Myers. One of the most relaxing vacation spots you can go to. We get a condo on the beach, and we basically just lay on the beach, drink, and go eat food the entire week. And it's super relaxing, super fun because you're right on the ocean. You have to walk downstairs to get to the beach. It's great. Came back, It was a super awkward week. Had one normal day at the gym, a half day the next day, and then what do you know? New Year's is here. Got to see my good buddy Matt Harper, the best man at my wedding. He was visiting that week, so I got to hang out with him New Year's Eve, and it was a good dang time. And yeah, so then got back to work. It was super weird. Thursday felt like a Monday, but anyways, here we are. I have some goals for 2020, but most of all, I'm writing really consistently, reading really consistently, and doing various things that are just exciting for me to do. The gym, I think we have some big goals at the gym, and it's cool that we hired some more people as a staff, and we're all working together towards those goals, and so far we're on track and crushing it, so we just got to keep that up. My goal also is to put out a new article every Monday, so I will be putting one up today, and those will be posted on liftlabco.com. But other than that, I think things are going well. Yeah, so let me just share. One thing I've been doing is I started this not way before, but right after me and Bree got back from our couples retreat in Austin, I came back, and just something about that retreat, all the people talking there, and the two guys that essentially ran the retreat, talking about just like writing your goals down and journaling and just getting stuff in front of you of where you want to be, and that will help keep you accountable and aware of where you're at and how to keep going in the future. So I started journaling, I think right back when I got from that trip. So right now for Christmas I got a clear journal. This is by the guy who wrote the book Atomic Habits, which I'll talk about here shortly. But his name's James Clear. This is the Clear Journal. Just got this for Christmas. Just started using it. I like it because in the back, one thing I like in the back, you can track your habits. So basically this is the month of January. I have certain habits there. Probably can't see them. But basically you just slash a day, mark a day if you completed the habit, and just don't mark it if you don't. So you get to kind of see how you're doing with the habits that you want to create. And there's some incentive just by writing it down. You're more inclined to engage in the habit simply by, there's some sort of just getting the relief of writing it down. Like, boom, I accomplished that today. There's some satisfaction in that, and just having it in front of you, being aware of how you're doing is going to help you stay on track and keep you accountable. I also don't know how to use some of it, like this part where one line per day, one prompt, 1 month. I honestly have no idea what's going on there. But then you have some like just open free pages, a lot of them in the middle, where you can just jot down kind of really whatever you want to. Basically how I do this is I have my January goals down here, have our goals from the gym that we want to hit, and then I have my year goals. And then, but basically how I start each day is the first thing I do, I write the date, I find a quote. I have a page open in my phone on Safari. I find a cool quote that kind of resonates with me. I write that down. So January 5th, the quote was, "What you seek is seeking you," by Rumi. And then after that quote, I just write down my core values, so those stay in front of me every day. And it reminds me of what's most important to me. My core values are fun, freedom, and community. So basically whatever I'm doing, if there's not some sort of fun involved, I really don't want to be doing it. And it's probably not the most important thing that I could be doing. Now I understand that some things are just not always going to be fun, and those things might pay off in the long run, but I don't want my life centered around a bunch of things that aren't fun. And Bree will tell you, when I get home from the gym at night, it's 9 o'clock, and we go to bed in an hour and a half after that, and basically come home, make food, eat dinner, watch a little TV. But during that time, I'm just super goofy and super silly because that is fun to me, and I just want to create, even in those moments, fun, because I don't want life to be boring. I also want freedom to do the things that I want to do when I want to do them. So things like, I have a job right now where I have enough freedom that I can write every day, read every day, meditate every day. Sometimes we get so caught up in jobs that we're working, we just keep increasing our hours to work more, but what we're really doing is just restricting our freedom. We're not able to do the things we really want to do. So I have a lot of freedom to do those things individually that I want to do. I get freedom to take trips, like I just took it to Fort Myers. I get freedom to, I have plenty of time to hang out with the people that I want to hang out with. And then community is, I just always want to be surrounded by people that I enjoy being around. It's as simple as that. And I want to create a life where that's easy to do, and that's kind of always in front of me. So those are my core values: fun, freedom, community. So again, quote, write my core values down. Then I just write 3 things I'm grateful for. And then I have I have a few affirmations just kind of help keep my mind centered on what's important. And then I have a win the day task. Basically, what is one task I can do today that will feel like I have won the day. So that's, I journal there. It takes me honestly 5 minutes, if that, and kind of helps get my day started on the right track. And I also, then after that, I got this book for Christmas, which is Tim Ferriss's Tools of Titans. This is a giant book. And honestly, Tim Ferriss, I used to listen to his podcast a lot more than I do now. But he just interviews so many interesting people and super successful people, and he always is able to get like really good nuggets of wisdom from each. Some of the advice is contradictory to others, but basically it's just what these people have found that helps them succeed, live a little bit more of a fulfilling life. And honestly, you just kind of take whatever resonates with you. But I decided I would get this just because I think there would be some good nuggets of wisdom in there. So basically the book is, like I said, it's huge. It's sorted out into 3 sections. There's a healthy section, there's a wealthy section, and then at the end there's a wisdom section. And basically he makes a disclaimer starting off that the best way to use this book is to skim around and skip through rather than just reading it front to back. So what I did is I just flipped right to the wisdom section, which is towards the end, and I just started from there because I thought that was most interesting to me at this moment. So I'll do that journal in the morning, then right after I flip to the wisdom section, and each section is 3 to 5 pages long, and it's just a quick interview that he did with various people that have good advice to share when it comes to just like wisdom, which I guess you could say is just life advice. And the first one started with BJ Miller, which was honestly probably the best one so far. BJ Miller is a palliative care physician at the University of California at San Francisco and an advisor to the Zen Hospice Project in San Francisco. Basically, this guy works with people that are on the end stages of life that they know are going to die soon, and he works with them just how to make the last days of their life super great, essentially. And this dude is actually I don't know what you call it, I forget. He's a triple amputee, and this dude's pretty brilliant. He was able to find a guy that made him a motorcycle that he was able to use with just his right hand. So this dude drives a motorcycle basically that's controlled solely through his right hand, But he had some just simple but really good advice in this section. He talked about, so he basically was in an electrocution accident and was in the burn unit of a hospital, which he said is easily the most miserable unit at the hospital. I guess a lot of surgeons and physicians don't spend a lot of time in a burn unit, or because it's just so grueling and people are in so much pain that they just can't do it very long. So basically, a lot of burn victims, if they don't die from the burns, they die from the burns getting infected. So a burn unit is super closed off from the outside because you don't want these people to get infected. So he talks about his time during that, how he was in so much pain, but he was completely cut off from any visitors, completely cut off from the outside world. And he talks about just the relationship he had with some nurses that were just super kind to him. He said one day, he didn't even know it was snowing out, but one of the nurses went outside, made a snowball, and came back to where he was and let him just feel the snowball and like rub the snowball on his skin. And he talked about how just that feeling of how he was so hot at the time with the contrast with the snow was just one of the best feelings ever, because he lost that from just being stuck in the hospital for so long and cut off from the outside world, cut off from so many of your just natural senses that you take for granted every day. And he also talks about how the simple smell of cookies was just phenomenal, and basically talks about how those things we take for granted during everyday life, that when we lose them, we forget how awesome they really are, and what those simple things are essentially the true essence of being a human. So I'm reading that, and then also another Christmas book, Atomic Habits. I saw, when this first came out, I was kind of, whatever, that doesn't interest me at all. But I started following the dude, James Clear. He started getting retweeted on my Twitter timeline all the time. And a few of the things that were retweeted were like really good practical advice. I just use the word like, can't do that. And so I followed him on Twitter, and the dude puts out just some really good just nuggets of practical life advice and how to just really create a systematic approach to getting where you want to go in the future, whatever that may be. So the book is all about habits, how to create good habits, how to break bad ones. And it's for when I first started reading it, I'm not completely done. I'm almost done. I think I have one page, maybe on page 229, and I think there's like 250 pages. So I'm almost done. I got the gist of it. But when I first started reading it, it was good right off the bat. But when I first started reading it, I kind of thought, I feel like this book could be much shorter and could be way more condensed. But it turns out that each chapter is like, there's something new in each chapter. Like, he's not just writing to continue to fill out a certain amount of pages so the book can get published. Like, each chapter, goddamn, I keep using like, each chapter is new and is full of good, useful information. So if you're anybody that is looking to change your habits, change your behavior in certain areas, this is one of the best places to start. If you don't want to buy the book, follow the guy on Twitter, follow him on Instagram, and also subscribe to his newsletter. Every Thursday he puts out a newsletter that's 3 ideas, 2 quotes, and 1 question from him. It's super simple, it's quick and easy, and it's good. It's full of really good, useful advice. So again, buy this book if you're looking to change some habits, change some behaviors. And one of the things I've realized, kind of working on this stuff on my own, is that it's so easy for us to continue to get stuck in our ways, because we've been in our ways for so long that we're not even really aware of what we want to change. so we don't change anything. We just keep going through what we've done the past 5-10 years of our life, and we're not even aware or come to terms with what we want to change, or how, if we want to get someplace, what we need to change. So the first step is really just to become aware. So write your day down, and you might, from an outside perspective, after you write it down, say, wow, I didn't realize I spent this much time doing this. That needs to change if I want to get to wherever it is I want to get to. But long story short, really good, useful, practical book. I highly recommend. Also, in Fort Myers, I read 1984 by George Orwell. I think I finished it in Fort Myers, or came really close. Honestly, one of the best things about the Fort Myers trip I love is we end up going to bed super early because we're kind of just out in the sun, drinking a little bit too much all day. So we usually wake up at a decent time there, and I absolutely love being able to get some coffee, grab a book, and go out on the beach and read right in front of the ocean. It's just a simple thing, absolutely love it. But I put a poll out on Instagram. I read Brave New World last year in Fort Myers, so I put out a poll asking people what are similar books to Brave New World that are really good, and this one was the first one that was recommended by most people, and I kind of already had this in my mind that I wanted to read at some point, so as soon as I saw a few people recommend it right away, I thought I had to get it. So I got it. Really, really good book. It was a super smooth, easy read. Didn't have any problems with it. I don't know what I really want to say about it, to be honest with you. The ending wasn't quite how I thought it would end, but it's essentially the end that he's obviously trying to get across a certain idea about totalitarianism throughout the book. So if the book, spoiler alert, isn't a happy ending, you can't really expect it to be a happy ending, but it was a super great book. I love the whole dystopian vibe. Black Mirror was one of my favorite TV shows, even though the last season absolutely sucks, but we'll just ignore that. And after reading Brave New World last year, that was another phenomenal book. This was a good book to read in the same kind of genre. I think I like Brave New World better. They're both really good books. Two super great famous writers in George Orwell and Aldous Huxley. But I think Brave New World's a little bit better. I think because it's a little bit more futuristic when it comes to technology. And I think it's a little bit more realistic than 1984 was. So that's 1984 for you. Just started Animal Farm, another George Orwell book. I'm not very far into it. Honestly, I'm on page 27. I've heard good things from some people, but I've also heard it isn't nearly as good as 1984. It's also much shorter, but this might be a spoiler alert. It starts out with animals talking to each other, so right away I was like, come on, are you serious? Some of those things, some things like that are just hard for me to get behind, but I know I'm still going to continue to read it, probably finish it, but I know he's doing that in a way he's trying to get across a certain idea, and that's his way of doing it. So I'll continue to stick with it. What else? I think that is basically it. What did I read before? Oh, finally finished this book here, A Brief History of Everyone Who Ever Lived. I think I talked about that with you guys at one point. Pretty dense book. It's very dry. It's all about our genetics and how they've moved through time from the beginning of Homo sapiens to where we are now. Good book, but if you're not super into the kind of sciencey, dry stuff, might not be the best book to get. But yeah, here we are. think that's all I got for you today. Until next time, toodaloo.